Now let's look at the spiritual journey as such, not in connection with me, but as all human beings. Is there a spiritual journey? Why do people embark on a spiritual journey? Is there a need to have a spiritual journey? Because there are lots of people who have no spiritual journey, nothing. They are quite happy. They eat, drink, go to sleep, have kids, go home and they're gone, and then they're dead. Now this death is everybody's cup of tea. There's nobody who doesn't have death, right? You ask anybody's life history. Oh, he was born very poor circumstances, then he worked very hard and he made a lot of money, he became a big man, or he became the president. And then you keep asking, and then he became old, and then he died. So all this is finally, then he died. Another guy who was born very rich and he wasted everything and became a pauper, oh terrible fellow, he became an alcoholic. Okay, you keep on asking, then he died. So this thing seems to be common to all. So some people, after seeing this, begin to wonder if this is the end all, be all and end all of life, or is there something more? More than this? Are we to rest in peace in the end and nothing happens? We don't know if you're resting in peace because we are not aware. It's only the plague says in the graveyard, rest in peace, R.I.P. My Guru Babaji used to define R.I.P. as rise if possible. Flat. So people begin to think, is this life? I mean, is it meaningless? Are we here for this? And also, somewhere along the line we are taught from childhood that when you gather things, acquire things, you will become happy. And so lifelong we acquire. It need not necessarily be wealth, it could be also fame, various things. We think if I am the President of India, we don't know how much he sleeps. So we think that happiness lies in gathering things more and more. Unfortunately, it doesn't. I'm going to tell you another story. I like stories. This you will also enjoy it. You know how Jesus taught in parables? Parables convey more than talking in riddles. There was a king of Punjab, a state called Patiala. Well, the descendants of this king is the chief minister of Punjab now, Amrinder. So this king of Patiala, 3 generations ago, 3 or 4, suddenly decided that he wanted to expand his territory, make it bigger. Now in those days, if you had to do something like that, you had to go to the Mughal emperor in Delhi, take his permission to do any such thing. So he came to Delhi to meet the Mughal emperor, who was Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last emperor, who was banished by the British to Burma after the Indian Revolution. So he came and met him and he said, I want to expand my Patiala. I'll increase the territories and I need help, permission and help from you. So the old king, he was very old at that time, he said, listen, in the Red Fort, do you think that by expanding your territory you will be happy? Do you really think so? And suppose I send you some Pathan commander to help you and he goes with you, helps you to occupy the territory. Then he says, I am the ruler of this territory. What will you do? In any case, do you think you'll really be happy? So he said, maybe. He said, look out of the window. There under the window, they saw a man who looked like a beggar, almost half naked, sitting under a tree, a yogi, Vairagi, let's say, sitting under the tree with a begging bowl in his hand. And one hand was raised like this, and he was smiling and laughing in ecstasy. He said, look at that guy's face. He has nothing. He doesn't even know when the next meal is coming from. What is this happiness on his face? Does he look happy, or do I, the Emperor of Delhi, look happy? Look at our expressions, compare. And after that, think about it. And if you still feel you want to expand Patiala, come back to me. Story is that he just went away. And neither came back to the emperor, nor went back home. Now go back home. Nobody knew where he left, where he was. Several years passed, and the younger brother of the king took over and ruled the kingdom. 5 or 6 years later, the king, then king of Patiala, who was the younger brother, decided to go on a pilgrimage. So, when the Maharajas go on pilgrimage, it's a big retinue following, lots of people, horses. So they reach Rishikesh. When they reach Rishikesh, somebody told him, since you are going on a tough pilgrimage, why don't you take blessings from a saint or somebody and go? That will help you. So he said, but where? They said, go to Lakshman Jhula, where there is a great saint living in a cave. Take blessings from him and proceed. He said, okay. So he went. He went into the cave, and there he saw a well-built yogi sitting with his eyes closed, matted hair. So he went to him and said, Maharaj, we are going on a pilgrimage, please bless us. The yogi opened his eyes. Then this man looked at the yogi's eyes, and he saw those piercing eyes, which a few years ago would get up in the morning and say, I don't like this fellow's face, behead him. It was his brother sitting there. So he said, wait, this is my brother who had disappeared long ago. And then the yogi put up his hand and said, Tathastu, so be it, meaning, may you be blessed. He said, brother, please come back. I am ruling Patiala because you are not there. If you come back, you can take over Patiala. He was not like the modern day politicians. So please come back. Here usually people sit by first putting Fevicol on the seat so that it can't be pulled out. So anyway, so he said, come back. So the yogi said, when you walked in here, what did you call me? I said, Maharaj. Yeah, call me Maharaj. What is a Maharaja? Emperor, king. He said, I am the Maharaja of the whole world now. What will I do with your little Patiala? I don't know if you get the drift of what I am trying to say. So, some people think that only few people walk on the spiritual journey. I feel that everybody, whether they are deliberately and consciously doing it, or unconsciously doing it, or not even thinking about it, or don't even believe in it, are all actually in a natural way on a spiritual journey. Can I explain this to you? Everyone, what does every human being seek? Happiness. Unhappiness or happiness? Happiness. Only thing is, people interpret happiness in different ways. Some people think if I have a Mercedes, then I will be happy. Some people think something else. There are people who have tons of money but who have no kids, unhappy. There are people who have lots of kids and no money, unhappy. You look at this carefully, it's a natural tendency of every living being, especially human being, to seek for happiness. And if you look little carefully, it doesn't require a great intellect. Just look little carefully, you find that actually you can't find the 100% happiness and the 100% security that we seek by acquiring anything on this earth. You can't. I mean, it's a fact. I keep meeting hundreds of people nowadays. And sometimes in quiet moments fighting with Babaji still in my mind. What the hell has happened to me? Why am I meeting so many people? But I do. And I have seen people from presidents and prime ministers and maharajas and everybody, all kinds of people. Why do they come if they are happy? They're seeking something else. This is a familiar scene. You might have read about it and heard about it. In a small, remote little village called Shirdi, there is a fakir sitting under a tree who is nothing. Torn clothes, which he refuses to change, stitch it and wear it again. And a fakir. And when he is hungry, he goes out with an old dalda tin and shouts, "Roti dal." Somebody brings food. He eats it and goes back. And how many thousands of people come to see him? What are they seeking? He has to beg for his own food. He wears torn clothes. What is it that all these people are seeking from him? Which means two things. In India, sometimes I have once seen a very advanced Avadut. I don't know if you have heard of him. There was somebody called Neem Karoli Baba. He used to live in Almora. He was absolutely, if you look at it from a Western standpoint of view, completely crazy. You know, I know somebody who's now 90 years old who lived with him for many years. And a few years ago, I ran into him in New Jersey, in somebody's house. So he had many stories. One of them, when Neem Karoli Baba was little known, not much known, one day a minibus full of people from Delhi or somewhere came looking for him. So they came near the village of Kainchi and they were looking for him. And he was lying in the grass with one foot up like this, that is his usual pose. And a blanket which he always had come summer or rainfall. So they stopped and they came and they asked, "Is there any Neem Karoli Baba here?" He said, I don't know if you have seen his picture, he was a huge man with a walrus moustache. So he said, "यहाँ कोई Neem Karoli Baba कोई नहीं है, आप लोग जाइए, there is no such Baba here, get out." So they went out. Then they went and searched everywhere and somebody said, "Oh, he looks like the..." Hey, we just passed him. So they came back. And they said, "You are Neem Karoli Baba." "Ah, did they say that?" He said, "Oh, okay. So now, what have you got with you?" They said, "We got some laddus." "Give me the laddus." So he ate one laddu, took the rest, distributed and said, "Get out from here now. I don't want to see your face." They got into the minibus and went back. So afterwards, when Neem Karoli Baba became well known, he used to come to Vrindavan, Haridwar and other places. When he came, he used to be the same. But there would be people coming to see him in hundreds of people. And if you go and look near where the cars are parked, in those days, I didn't see a Rolls Royce, Mercedes, all kinds of expensive cars parked out there. They've all come to see him. And what does he have? Nothing but a blanket. What is it that they are seeking? Two things are proved. One is that he has nothing but has everything. He has nothing. But what does he have? Happiness, peace, tranquility, a quiet mind. And because of that, infinite power. And what are these guys? They have marks, they have all these things, but they are not happy, even if they have this. He has nothing, but he is happy. So can happiness be measured by your possessions?